Dear students, today we will talk about Module 3 in Computer Graphics and Visualization. In this topic, I am going to cover a problem on clipping window and normalized viewport, one problem on Sutherland-Hodgman polygon clipping, and another problem on Cohen-Sutherland line clipping. In the previous topic, we were talking about how we can go for converting from the window to the viewport. So different coordinate systems we had studied. Here I'll just try to explain how when you're going for mapping from the window to the viewport, you will be having the values changing from the window parameters to the viewport parameters. Say suppose the window parameters have been given over here with respect to their x minimum and x max, y minimum and y max. And also the viewport parameters also are given with respect to all the four values, that is x and y, min and max. So we are being given a point xw and yw. This point xw, yw, it is present in my clipping window. What happens when this point moves to the viewport? So we are going to see by looking at the formulae what we studied in the previous topic, we'll just get to know how actually this point is actually mapped onto xv and yv. Look at this picture. We have a clipping window. In the clipping window, I have a point here that is xw and yw. This point should be mapped onto xv and yv. We are being given all the four parameters, that is the minimum and maximum with respect to y and x for the clipping window and also for the viewport. So we have these four parameters for the clipping window, four parameters for the viewport. I also have the value for xw and yw. Now I want to see what happens to this point when it is mapped onto xv and yv. Look at this slide here. We have the ratio of the x direction and we have the ratio on the y direction. First we will look at the first formula. In this formula we can see that on the left hand side we are having the viewport parameters minimum and maximum and also the xv point. And on the right side we have the window parameters with respect to minimum and maximum. So the viewport what we have, if the point that is xv, it has to be mapped neatly, then this ratio should be same on the viewport and it should be same on the window. Only when both of them are matching, then only I am going to get the proper value of xv. We know the value of all other parameters over here except the value for xv. So I am going to substitute all my values over here and then I am going to compute the value of xv. We can see that the value of the xv is equal to 35. In the second formula, we are having the ratio of the viewport with respect to y direction on the left hand side and the ratio of the y direction for the window on the right hand side. This ratio, it has to be same. Only when it is same, then the viewport point, that is yv, it will be neatly mapped on to from the window. So the yv will be neatly mapped on from the yw only if this ratio is equal. So we know the value of all other parameters over here, and then by using all these parameters, now I can compute what is the value of yv. So you can see that this yv value, it is equal to 60 after computations by taking all the known values. So now we have the xv and yv value as 35 and 60. This 35 and 60 was got from the previous value of xw and yw, which was equal to 30 and 80. That means when I am mapping from my window to the viewport, the window values what was there, the window size what is there, it is playing a part when it is moving a point xw, yw into a point called as xv and yv. So this point xw and yw, it has been now changed from the window 3080 to the viewport 35 and 60. Then we also have the scaling factors on the x direction and the scaling factors on the y direction. The scaling factors on the x direction depends upon the minimum and maximum in the x direction for the viewport and also the minimum and maximum in the x direction for the window. Similarly, for the SY, we are going to consider the Y direction, the viewport values in terms of minimum and maximum, and the Y direction for the minimum and maximum for the window. When we are going to substitute the values here, you can see that the scaling factor on the X direction is same as the scaling factor on the Y direction, which is equal to 0.5. So what is scaling? Scaling is nothing but we are having a point which can be either increasing or decreasing. So in this case, my scaling is happening with respect to 0.5 value. That means the scaling factor is equal to 0.5, and it is observed here that it is equal on both the x and the y direction. When we find what is the translation value with respect to the x direction and with respect to the y direction, you see that you will be getting it as 20 and 20. The translation means the movement on the x direction and the movement on the y direction. It turns out to be 20 and 20. Substituting this Sx and Tx, and also we know the value of Xw, you're going to get the value of Xv and Yv as 35 and 60. In the previous also we had got the same value 35 and 60. You can also do it by making use of this method. So the point which is 30 and 80 in the clipping window is mapped onto 35 and 60 given the window parameters of the clipping window and the viewport. We are going to get the value of Xv and Yv. So in this example, we just can understand that whenever a point has been mapped from one window to another window, there will be a change, and this change will always be with respect to the windows from where to where it is moving, and the dimension of the input window and the dimension of the output window. So if the point has to be neatly mapped, so then we have to make use of this formula over here, and then we know that the point is correctly mapped onto the viewport. So in this way we are going to convert from one coordinate system or from one particular window to another window. The transformations are going to happen. Now we will look at one problem on Sutherland-Hodgman. The Sutherland-Hodgman is, they have found an algorithm for clipping a polygon. So what is a polygon? A polygon is a closed loop. We are having a continuation of lines. So the clipping window, it is a rectangle. So we are going to clip the polygon with respect to each of the edge of the clipping window. So the entire polygon what is there, this entire polygon is clipped against each edge one at a time, and then you are going to get the resulting polygon. That means the rectangular clipping window what is there, that we are going to take the polygon and we are going to clip it with respect to the four sides of the clipping window. So we are going to apply the method which is called as the Sutherland-Hodgman. In the Sutherland-Hodgman clipping algorithm, we will be considering four situations. So the first one is, if the first vertex is outside the window, the second vertex is inside the window, then I am going to consider the point of intersection and the second vertex to the output list. You can look at this picture over here. I am having a vertex V1, I have another vertex V2. These are connected by one line, and I have the intersection point as V22. So because this edge is moving from outside to inside, we are going to take the output as the intersection point V22 and the inner point, that is V2. These 2 points are considered. That means the line which is present within my clipping window, it will be considered. And what will be rejected? Whichever is outside the clipping window. So the blue color window what is there, that is my clipping window, and my clipping window, whatever the outside V1 is to V22 is there, that will be rejected. Whatever is present inside from V22 to V2, that will be added to my output list. In the Sutherland-Hodgman polygon clipping, the second condition is if I am having a line from inside to inside, and that means both the vertices are present inside my window boundary. In this case, I am going to consider only my second vertex. So if I am having a line from V1 to V2, I am going to consider only V2. This V2 will be added to my output list. The condition 3 is if the first vertex is lying inside the window and the second vertex is lying outside the window. Then what we are going to do, in the output list we are just going to add the point, that means the point which is intersecting the window. The point here is V22, the intersection point between V1 and V2, that is the point V22 that is added to the output list. The line which is rejected is the line which is outside the window, that is from V22 to V2. Fourth condition is if both the vertices are outside the clipping window, obviously then that line need not be considered. Entire line can be trivially rejected. So we have these 4 conditions for the Sutherland-Hodgman clipping algorithm. If you remember how these 4 conditions are working, then easily you can go for solving the Sutherland-Hodgman clipping algorithm. I was talking about an edge from inside to outside and outside to inside, but in a polygon no directions may be given. When no directions are there, so how can you conclude whether it is inside to outside or outside to inside? So you don't have to worry. There is a simple method. What does that means? Whenever I have a polygon, that polygon is a closed loop. That means from where I am going to start, I have to reach the same point after going across all the other points. So here I have a polygon which is consisting of 4 points, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you have the points over here. This can be considered in the clockwise direction from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 and 4 to 1, or it can be considered in the anti-clockwise direction. The first row is about the clockwise direction, the second row is about the anti-clockwise direction. You can consider a polygon in the clockwise direction or you can consider a polygon in the anti-clockwise direction. Both of them is the same. It will not make any difference. That is the reason why I am trying to explain to you the logic of directions. There won't be any difference either if you can go for clockwise or anti-clockwise. In the clockwise direction, when you start from one point, you have to come back to the same point in the clockwise direction. That means you will have to move in the clockwise. The same thing, the opposite will be done in the anti-clockwise. To understand more about the directions of a polygon, just we will take one illustration. In this picture, I have a polygon. The polygon is present within one clipping window. This polygon here, I am going to consider the edges with respect to anti-clockwise direction. I am going to start from any point. I have to reach the same point. For example, if I am starting from 1, I will move from 1 to 6, 6 to 5, 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2 and then from 2 to 1. I will stop at 1 in the anti-clockwise direction. I want to find now which edges are inside my clipping window and which edges are outside my clipping window. So what I am going to do, first I am going to list all my edges. So we can see here, after listing all the edges, then I will look into each of these edges one by one. We can see that the edge from 1 to 6, it is outside to outside. That means the complete line is lying outside the clipping window and it can be trivially rejected. And when you go for the edge which is from 6 to 5, you can see that this particular edge, it is moving from outside to inside. So when we are moving from outside to inside, we have to consider according to the algorithm. Okay, we have to consider the intersection point 65 to 5. So when we consider this part, that is 65 to 5 as the output for 6, 5. So when you go for the line 5, 4, you can see that this is completely inside and that is why I am considering the second point, that is 4. 5 and 4 is a line and 4 is the second point. So that will be considered. When you consider the line from 4 to 3, you can see that it is completely inside, and that is why I am going to consider the second point, that is 3. Then I am going to consider the edge from 3 to 2. When 3 to 2 is considered, you will see that it is from inside to outside. When it is from inside to outside, according to this algorithm condition, I have to select only 32. So when I consider the 32 over here and the last line what is there, that is from 2 to 1, you will see that it is outside to outside. So 2 to 1 is outside to outside. The line is completely rejected. Now we are having the set of points here which have been put in my output list. What are these points? That is nothing but 65, 5, 4, 3, 32. So because this polygon is a closed loop, so if I start from one point, I have to come back to the same point again. So you can see that the output polygon will be a combination of all these points. It will be connected because whichever place we are going to start, we have to stop at the same point. Here I am starting from 32. So you can see that the polygon will be consisting of the edges which are connected from 32 to 65, 65 to 5, 5 to 4, 4 to 3 and 3 to 32. Now we will look at the polygon in the clockwise direction. In the clockwise direction also, you can list down all the edges over here. After listing down the edges over here, for this Sutherland-Hodgman polygon clipping algorithm, now we can look at the conditions. So here you can see now the line from 6 to 1, it is outside to outside, it is completely rejected. The line from 1 to 2 is also outside, it is completely rejected. The line from 2 to 3 when you are considering, this is a line from outside to inside. We have to consider the intersection point 32 and the inner point 3. For the 3, 4, it is a line inside to inside, and so the second point is accepted. 4 to 5 also, the second point is accepted. And then from 5 to 6, you can see that this is from inside to outside, and so we are going to get the intersection point in the output list. So now we are having a set of points in the output list. When you put them on your clipping window, now you can see that only the polygon which was present inside your clipping window, that will be now present, and all other lines, all other part of the polygon which was outside the clipping window has been rejected. So you can do this either by using the clockwise direction or by using the anti-clockwise direction. The output will not be different. You are going to get the same polygon. The polygon will not be any different if you go for a clockwise or an anti-clockwise direction. So you can start from any point and you have to come back to the same point. In this you can see that the polygon is consisting of the same points what we had in the previous case, and the polygon will be the same thing. Only thing is the directions of the edges we are going to consider in the opposite direction. So which means that you can consider the polygon edges in either direction, but it will not be affecting your final output. Now let us solve an example for this polygon clipping. So this polygon clipping, first we have to explain what is the Sutherland-Hodgman polygon clipping concept. You have to give the conditions and everything. First you have to explain that one, and you will also have to find the final clipped vertices for this particular polygon. In the step 1, we are going to apply the left clip. Here we have a polygon and we have a clipping window. Now we are going to clip out all the part of the polygon which is present outside my left clipping window. So you can see that my left clipping window will be affecting two edges, that is 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. So the 6 to 7, it is having a intersection point as 67, and 7 to 8 we have intersection point which is 78. So in my output list, the edge from 6 to 7, that is 6 is inside and 7 is outside. When you go from inside to the outside, I am going to consider the intersection point 67, and when I am having a line from 7 to 8, because this is from outside to the inside, I am going to consider the intersection point 78 and the inner point 8. So this is the left clip. This left clip will be given as the input for the next stage. After applying the left clip, this is the output what we are getting. We can observe here the 78 and 67, the intersection points. That means whatever was lying onto the left of the clipping window, when they are rejected, only the intersection points of these lines are going to be viewed over here. That means it is going to be considered. So this left clipping, what we have, you can see here in the single digit number, it is the vertices, and the double digit number, it is telling about the intersection point. We are going to apply the right clip now. In the right clip, in the Sutherland-Hodgman, so what we are going to do, we are going to consider the right clipping window, and then whatever is there onto the right of the clipping window, that will be rejected. So after listing down all the edges, we can see that only 2 edges are affected in the right clip. Which are those 2 edges? We have the edge which is from 2 to 3, and we have an edge from 3 to 4. So 2 to 3 is from inside to outside. So we get the output as the intersection point, that is 23. And 3 to 4 is the line from outside to inside. So we are going to consider the part which is present inside, that is 34 to 4. Rest of the edges, they will be not affected in this right clip. It will be remaining the same thing. Only 2 edges are affected. This will be the output what we are getting after applying the right clip. You can see that the 23 and the 34, which are the intersection points, they will be retained, and only the polygon which is present within my right clipping window, they will be part of the output. So this will be fed as the input for the next stage. In the step 3, we are going to apply the top clip. So you can see that 2 edges, that is 1 to 2 and 8 to 1 are affected. So 1 to 2 is from outside to inside. So I am going to consider 12 to 2 as the output. And from 8 to 1, whatever the line is there, in that I am going to consider only the intersection point, that is 18. After we apply the top clip, the portion of the polygon which was above the clipping window will be rejected, and only the intersection points 18 and 12 are considered. When we go for the bottom clip, you can see that the edges which will be affected are 4 to 5 and 5 to 6. 4 to 5 is from inside to outside. So I am going to get only the intersection point, that is 45. 5 to 6 is from outside to inside. I am going to get the intersection point 56 and also the inner point, that is 6. This will be given as the output for the next stage. So you can see here, this is my final solution. In my final solution, when I'm going to apply the bottom clip and everything is being done, you're going to get the output list, which will be 12, 2, 23, 34, 4, 45, 56 and 6, 67, 78 and 8, 18. So now you join all of them, and you can traverse them from any point to the same point through all other points. When you're going to do that one, you're going to get a polygon which has been clipped effectively. So this is the logic of the Sutherland-Hodgman polygon clipping algorithm. By making use of the Sutherland-Hodgman polygon clipping, you can go for solving another problem from the VTU question paper. To solve this, what we have to do, you have to go for marking all the points. First you go for marking all the points, and then you can go for clipping against all the 4 edges. Like what we have done in the previous case, you apply the 4 conditions one by one, make a table, and then you are going to get the final polygon which will be clipped. Next we are having Cohen-Sutherland line clipping algorithm. The Cohen-Sutherland line clipping algorithm, it is having the basics of where we are going to have a 4-bit code and 9 regions. So the window what we are interested in, that is called as our clipping window, and the clipping window will be having its 8 neighbors. That means the region above it, the region below it, the region to the left of it, and the region to the right of it, and also diagonal left and right. When you include this 4 plus 4, you are going to get totally 8 regions around my clipping window. So this clipping window is of my interest. I am going to assign a 4-bit code for all these 9 regions, and by whatever the clipping window I have in the center, for that I am going to give the value as 0000 because that is my reference window from where I am starting. This 0000 is nothing but the value which is for the clipping window. Based on this, I am going to assign the values for other regions. And this clipping window will be having its own minimum value and its own maximum value. Based on the minimum and maximum, I am going to assign my region codes. In the Cohen-Sutherland line clipping, we are going to consider 4 bits. These 4 bits, it depends upon the reference clipping window. So the reference clipping window, it will be at the center. So all other 8 regions, they will be around this clipping window. We have to assign the code for each of these regions by making use of these 4 bits. Here we have the LRBT. LRBT stands for the left, right, bottom and top. So the reference window will be having the X minimum and X max. So all the regions with respect to X value we can consider, and the regions we can consider with respect to Y value also. So the bit 1, that is the LSB, it will be equal to 1 if that region is coming to the left of the clipping window. If the X is less than X min, if that region is to the left of the clipping window, then the bit 1 will be equal to 1. That means it is telling that this region is to the left. The bit 2, it will be the region which is coming to the right of the reference window. So the right bit, that is R, will be equal to 1. The bit 2 is concerned about the right. So this will be equal to 1 if the X is greater than X max. And the bit 3 is about the bottom. All the regions which are coming below the clipping window, that means their value will be equal to lesser than the Y minimum. In that case, the bottom bit, it will be equal to 1, else it will be equal to 0. Last bit, that is the bit 4, it is talking about the top bit. That means all the regions which are coming above the clipping window, they will be having the value as T is equal to 1, else T will be equal to 0. In this way, we are going to assign the 4-bit code for all the regions with reference to the clipping window. We know that the clipping window is having its value as 0000. The clipping window, which is at the center, it will be having its value as 0000. You can observe that all the regions which are coming above the clipping window, they will be having their first value, that is the among the 4 bits, the first value, it is equal to 1 because they are on the top. And you can also observe that in the right column, the right window what we have, which is to the right of the clipping window, you can see that the third bit is equal to 1. Why this third bit is equal to 1 means here these regions are lying to the right of the clipping window. So in 1010, 0010, 0110, we have the common 1, that is 1 nothing but which is with reference to the right of the clipping window. So in this way we are going to assign the code for all the 8 regions based on the reference window that the reference clipping window will be having its value as 0, 0, 0, 0. Here we have the different type of lines on which we can apply the Cohen-Sutherland line clipping. Some lines are present within the clipping window. Some lines are present outside the clipping window. Some may be partially present. We should be able to differentiate between all these lines and go for clipping the line properly. In the Cohen-Sutherland line clipping, we have to follow these steps if we want to go for clip a line properly. What does that means? First, we have to assign the region code for the two endpoints of a given line. We know that a line will be having two vertices. These vertices can be lying in any of the region. So first you assign the region code. After that, if both the endpoints have the region code as 0000, that means they are present inside the clipping window and it can be accepted. If it is not equal to, if both the points are not equal to 0000, then we have to perform a logical AND operation and then see whether that value is 0000 or not. If the result is not all four zeros, then that line is completely outside the clipping window. If it is equal to 0000, that means that line is partially inside. When that line is partially inside, we have to choose the endpoint to see that which is coming outside the given rectangle. We have to find the intersection point of the rectangular boundary or the line, and then we have to assign the region code and update the values. And we have to repeat this until we are going to get the line trivially accepted or trivially rejected. You can see here in the situation 1, the region code are written over here, and we are having the region code for the point P1 and the region code for the point P2. Both of them it is equal to 0000. That means this line can be completely accepted. I have shown the flow of the algorithm with respect to 0000. Both the points P1 and P2, they are 0000. That is why this can be completely accepted and the rest of the code won't be executed. When we go for situation 2, suppose I am having a line from P1 to P2 and P1 is lying in the region code 0100 and P2 is lying in the region code 0000. Now what happens? Because both their values are not equal to 0000, you have to find the intersection point and then you have to reassign the region code. So when we are going to consider the point P1 and P2 with their region codes as 0100 and P2 equals 0000, we'll see that both of them are not equal to all zeros. That is why it will be logically ANDed and you will see that the result will be always equal to 0000, which means that that line is partially inside. So what we have to do, you have to choose an endpoint of the line which is outside the given rectangle. So we'll choose the first point, that is P1. And later on we have to find the intersection point of the rectangular boundary. That means the intersection point between P1 and P2, which is equal to P11. When the P11 comes on to the intersection point of the rectangular boundary, its value will change to 0000. Now we have to replace this end point with the intersection point and we have to update the region code. Now the region code for P11, it is equal to 0000 and P2 is also equal to 0000. That means this is completely inside and it can be accepted. We'll take another example where we are having a line from P1 to P2. Here you can see the intersection points will be P11, P22 and P23. So after discarding P1 and P11, we are going to discard P2 and P23. After that we are going to discard P23 and P22 and then only finally I am going to accept the line which is present between P22 and P11. The algorithm it will be in this way. So we will just see the region code, and you can see that it is partially inside. So we go for considering the point which is outside the given rectangle, that is P2. Then I'm going to find the intersection point which is P23. Now the P23 will be updated with its region code, and then I'm having the value of P1 and P23 ANDed, and again I'm going to get the value as 0, 0, 0, 0. That means it is partially inside. Then I'm going to go for the line point which is outside my rectangle, that is P2. I'm going to clip out section by section, and then I'm going to get my final output. Only when we are having both these points, the region code should be equal to 0, 0, 0, 0. Only then it will be accepted, or else it will be rejected. So having the boundary condition is one thing. One more thing is we will have to identify exactly where this line is intersecting the window. You need to find exactly what will be the x value and what will be the y value. If we are having a end point x0 and y0 and x end and y end as a line coordinates over here, you can see we can find the y coordinate of the intersection point with a vertical clipping border line by making use of y is equal to y0 plus m of x minus x0, where m is the slope. That means I am talking about the y coordinate, means this y coordinate over here, we can find the value of the y, where the x value can be either the xw minimum or the xw maximum. That means we can find the y value. If the line is clipping the clipping window, one value will be known, either the x value or the y value. Whatever is missing, that value we have to find. Whenever a line is cutting through the clipping window, because the clipping window is having its own x minimum and y minimum, x maximum and y maximum, if the line is cutting through any of these borders, we know that we have to find the unknown, because when we know the 4 parameters, we know that line will be cutting along that border, means that value will be matching with the same value. So the unknown value y can be found out by making use of y0 and x0 along with the slope and the x value. So this x value can be either xw min or xw max. We know that the slope is equal to yn minus y0 divided by xn minus x0. Suppose we know the y value, then I have to find out the x value. The x value formula will be equal to x is equal to x0 plus y minus y0 divided by m, where this y value can be either yw minimum or yw maximum. That means I know the value of the y. It can be either yw minimum or yw max. That means the line is cutting through the y, where if the line is cutting through yw minimum, I have to substitute yw minimum for the y. If the line is cutting through yw maximum, then I have to substitute the value for the y as yw maximum. When we are solving the problem, I think this doubt will be clear for you, how we are going to calculate the value of the x by using y and y by using the x value. So the point, you have to remember the formula here. That means how we are going to find what is the value of the y when we know the xw minimum, what is the value of the y when we know the xw maximum. We also have the top intersection point. Also, if you know the top intersection point, that is if you know the yw maximum, you can find the value of the x. If you know the yw minimum value, then you can also go for finding the x value. I will take an example of the previous year examination paper, and we will try to see how actually this Cohen-Sutherland line clipping works. So we have to clip the line with the coordinates. The line is having its coordinate values as x0 and y0 as 60 and 20, and the end point, the other point, it is equal to 80 and 120. We are being given the value of the window boundaries, that is 50, 50 and 100, 100. By using these two values, that is xw minimum and yw minimum and xw max and yw max, we can identify how this line will look when it is applied on a window. So it will look something like this. We are having a line which is starting from 60-20 to 80-120. Here I have just roughly drawn, because we don't have a scale. So I have roughly drawn a line from 60-20 to 80-120, and I have a clipping window. The clipping window size will be equal to 50-50 on the left bottom corner and 100-100 on the top right corner. By having these two values, of course, we can guess what will be the values on other points of the clipping window. So the x-axis is on the direction from the 50-50 onwards, and we have the y direction in the vertical direction. So this is a view how we are going to get for the line clipping. What is this? We are going to do it by using first step. What is the first step? We have to assign the region codes for P1 and P2. So the region code for P1 is 0100. It is lying below the clipping window. For the P2, it is equal to 1000. It is lying above the clipping window. So both the endpoints are not equal to all zeros, which means that the line is not completely inside. So we are going to perform a logical AND operation on the points. When you perform the logical operation on these points, you are going to get the value as all zeros. All the 4 bits are zeros, which implies that some part of the line is partially inside the clipping window. So we have to find the intersection point, and then we have to go for clipping the line and accept the line which is inside the clipping window. The intersection point between P1 and P2, we will call that as P11. So we find the P11, which is the intersecting point, and after finding the P11, we know that the P11 is cutting the clipping window, the clipping window's bottom border. That means we have the reference clipping window, below the clipping window it is cutting. That means the P11 will be having x and y value. In this x and y value, now we know the y value. How we know the y value? Because the P11 is cutting the lower clipping window. For the lower clipping window, the y value will be equal to 50. So I have to find the value of x. So we know how we can find this one, because we know the value of the P1. You have to find the value of P11 given the value of P1 and P2. So the P1 value is equal to 60 and 20, and P2 value is equal to 80 and 120. So in the formula we need m. That is why first compute the value of the slope. You get the slope value as 5, and then this 5 is substituted in the equation over here, and you will see that the x value for P11, it is equal to 66. That means the P11 is cutting the clipping window at a value of x direction 66 and the y direction 50. In the next step, what we are going to do, we are going to eliminate the line which is from P1 to P11 and reassign the region codes. Now the region code for P2 is 1000, and the region code for P11, because now it is part of the clipping window, it is cut through the clipping window, it will become equal to 0000. Both of them are not equal to 0, and so I am going to perform a logical AND operation which turns out to be 0, which indicates that some part of the line is partially inside. So what we are going to do, again I am going to find the intersection point between the P11 and P2. I am going to get that point as P22. So for this P22, I have to find what is the value of x and y. You can see that this point P22 is lying on the upper clipping window. That means when you go for the upper clipping window, you know that that is nothing but the y max. That y max value we already know, it is equal to 100, because it is given in the clipping window size. This is same as y here. So we have to find the x value of this P22. So P22 is consisting of x and y value, where x value I have to find now. I know the value of y. How I know the value of the y? Because this P22, it is lying on the upper clipping window, and the window size it is given by in the y direction as 100, and that is why we know that the y max is equal to 100. Now we are going to find the value of this value, that is we are going to find what will be the value of the x value here by finding out the slope. So the slope will be considered, it has to be calculated by taking the line as P11 and P2. Again you are going to get the slope as 5, and then you can find the value of the x by substituting this slope, and then the y max is equal to 100 and the y1 we know that it is equal to 50. Because of the line x1 and y1 which is 66 and 50, you are going to get the x value as 76. Now you can see that the point P22, its x value turns out to be 76 and the y value is equal to 100. The y value is equal to 100 because of the clipping window size. So the line which is accepted is from P11 to P22. That means the line which is from 6650 to 7600. And P22 and P11, now they will be having the region code as 0000, 0000, and it will be trivially accepted. So in the algorithm what we have studied, in the Cohen-Sutherland line clipping algorithm, two things are significant. One is the region code, and the second one is where actually the line is cutting. Where actually the line is cutting, we have to find the value. Only then we can go for clipping the line and assigning the new region codes. This is a simple line. If you are having a line which is having number of intersections, for every intersection point we need to find the value of the x and y and also reassign the region codes, and then we have to go on clip that line until we get a line which is completely accepted within my clipping window. This is the logic of the Cohen-Sutherland line clipping algorithm. Finally, this picture I have summed up all the calculations what we have done up till now. So you have a line from 6020 to 80-120. The first point of intersection, that is P11, that will be considered, and we are going to reject the line from P1 to P11. So for the P11 we know the value of y because the y, the clipping window value is given by 50. So we know the value of 50. We have computed the value of x value, that is equal to 66. Later on P11 to P2 we are going to find the intersection point, and that is P22. For this P22 I am going to find the value of x and y. Again in this case I know the value of y because the border for the clipping window, that y value, it is equal to 100. I have to find the value of the x, and you will see that the P22 value will be equal to 7600. So the line from P1 to P2, it has been clipped, and then you are going to get only the part which is between P11 to P22 accepted, and P1 to P11 and P2 to P22, both of them will be rejected. So the input we had the values as 6020, 80, 120, and the output what I am going to get, that will be the clipped line from 6650 to 7600. So here the 50, 50, 100, 100 what we have, that is a clipping window size. So it is the clipping window, and the x direction and the y direction will be as usual. Based on this we have to find where actually the point is cutting the clipping window. Appropriately at that place you have to find the values for x and y. Exactly I know now where my line has been clipped. So this is summarizing the Cohen-Sutherland line clipping algorithm. Thank you.